a quick shout out on silver this morning. Well, I guess it's the afternoon now. I'm here at Newport Beach. I've been filming some videos today, and I want to talk about silver. There's a lot going on with it. A lot of people are trying to figure out should they be buying it or selling it. But there's a nice, really cool silver pour that I got from the Broke Stacker. It's the second one he's done, so go check out his channel. And it's a little over 3 ounces. So these are worth about, let's just call it 100, 110 bucks or so. But silver like this right now is something that a lot of people are looking at as a investment, and also as a way to hedge inflation and to save money. So our money up until 1964 at the end of the year was made out of 90% silver. That's our dimes, quarters, and half dollars. And after that, it started becoming some kind of a nickel composite alloy that really is not worth anything. And so our money used to be what the value of the money was. That was the value was the actual money you were holding. Now we just have paper dollars that aren't worth a whole lot. Hey, Amy, welcome. Silver Stallion, welcome, and Ascended Master. So I was just showing off a silver pour I got from the Broke Stacker. It's his second one he did, and it's made after a Spanish doubloon. A little over 3 ounces there. Okay, it's about 100 bucks there. Let's see if you guys can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it here on the ground, but silver's awesome. I think it has more potential than just about any crypto that's out there. And I know I get laughed at when I say that, but it's true. Right now we have a ratio of about 85. We could potentially see a ratio go even as high as 100 again with silver. There's so much manipulation going on with it, and gold continues to go up. And so we could see a situation where silver does have that 100 ratio again. But historically, that ratio goes down to 40. Okay, so if you go from 80 to 40, you're doubling the amount of gold that you can buy with an ounce of silver. Well, that's not the right way to say it. You're doubling the amount of gold that you can buy with the same ounces of silver. And then if all of a sudden you're able to go down to from an 80 to a 40 ratio, and then you get down to a 20, and you get down to a 10. Biblically, silver was trading about 1 to 7, 1 to 10, depending on the time period. We're nowhere near there because of all the manipulation. They won't be able to manipulate this stuff forever, okay? At some point, they're going to need the physical, okay? The way that they're manipulating this is by printing more and more fake silver, okay? And I call it printing because it's numbers. It's maybe printing's not the right word. It's just creating the digits. So we're at 409 fake ounces of silver to 1 real ounce of silver. At some point, they need the real stuff. And when they have to go after the real stuff, they're going to drive the price up. And especially when the rich and other businesses, EV companies, battery companies, solar panel companies decide they need more of the metal stuff, they're going to have to do that. There's a deficit in the physical. So why are the metals going down, guys? I'd love to hear from you guys. Why do you think the metals went down after President Trump's presidency was decided on? I know that went down quite a bit, and I'll say hi to you guys here. Scruffy Scrubs, welcome. Silver Stallions in here. We've got Chet Stacker, welcome. I hope some of you guys have been checking out the Wounded Warrior auctions going on too. I had a chance to pick up some copper and silver today over there. I don't know if anybody has a link to that they can put in here because it's on a different channel than I normally go to. I don't know that stacker very well, but throw that on there. I think you guys should go check that out. Let's see, Trump has a positive ideas and plans. So usually what happens is when you have a Democratic president come into play, gold and silver go up. And the reason for that is there's the belief that there's going to be a lot of money printing going on. There's going to be a lot more social programs going on and that there's going to be more inflation. Okay, when you have a Republican president, the idea is there's going to be less inflation. They're going to have more tightness on the fiscal spending and things like that. And so I think what you're seeing right now is we just saw a new element of that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin hasn't been around all that long. And Trump and Vaswamy have talked about Bitcoin and having a reserve, okay? And there's even a senator that's put out, maybe it was a House of Representative member that put out maybe in Wyoming, that put out a new law that they want to do as far as having Bitcoin be a strategic reserve asset. So there's a lot of interest on Bitcoin and some of these cryptos right now, and I think that's why you've seen those prices jump from about $68 up to $76. Sorry, 68,000 to 76,000. And that's put some pressure on the metals. It's brought them down a little bit. Plus, there's been more manipulation going on. But I do think you're going to see that change, okay? I think what's going to happen is I think we're going to see a massive amount of money printing going on with Trump. And the reason I think that is I think they're going to start to try to fix different things that are out there. And that's going to require some money printing going on, okay? Part of that's going to come in the form of maneuvering in what they're doing, okay? If they're buying more reserve assets, they're going to be printing more money to buy those. I think the other thing you're going to see, and this is more short term, I think you're going to see the Fed continuing to lower rates. And I think the economy is right at the edge of a recession. It feels like a recession to me. I'm not seeing restaurants full anymore. When I went to Disneyland last time, it was not full, and they were bringing the prices down from about $220 a ticket, which is insane, down to about $160, which is still insane. But they're having to make concessions to get people in there. The other thing I'm noticing is coin shows. There's just not as many people there. We're all running out of money to be able to buy more of this stuff, right? So I think that's always an issue there too. Hey, Jam 2.0, how are you doing? So Chet Stacker says, I have doubt that the Trump will turn the ship around, but I do believe his policies will help, you know, avoid the iceberg. I agree with that. So here's the deal, guys. A president is not a king. He cannot come in and just say, we're going to change all this stuff and this is what we're going to do. A president comes in with ideas. They're supposed to be the person that meets with the head of states of other countries, and they're supposed to be there to veto bills that start at the House, go to the Senate, and then end up on his desk. And he's supposed to be there to do a checks and balance for it. He's also the commander-in-chief of the military, and he's supposed to help, you know, lead the military. And what that really means is making some of the harder decisions. The chiefs joint of staff make the decisions, the military leaders, and the president appoints some of those. He appoints the cabinet too. So what a president's not supposed to be doing, which the last, I don't know, 10 or 20 presidents have done, I guess 10 presidents have done crazy amounts of this, is executive orders. They're not supposed to be able to do executive orders all over the place. So what's going to happen now is the moment Trump gets in, January 20th, 21st, he's going to start undoing all the executive orders that Biden's put in place. And he's going to start trying to put all the executive orders back in place he had previously. And then what he's going to do is he's going to start creating new executive orders. Now, it's a hard thing. If you're a big Trump fan, you may say, hey, I want him to do that. I want him to turn things around quickly and fix it. But here's the problem. As soon as he's out of office, the next party can come in and take them all out. So if he's smart, what he's going to do is maybe do some executive orders to shore things up. And then he's going to turn around and he's going to work with Congress to start to create new laws. And then get the House to create them, the Senate to pass them, and then he won't veto them. He'll let them just go right through. And if he's smart enough, he'll do that. And then what will happen is those executive orders will be null and void, and they're now law. So it's going to be much harder to displace them. But I'm hoping he does things like this. I'm hoping he talked about getting rid of taxing on tips, taxing on Social Security. I'd like to see the option of not paying into Social Security anymore and having my own account for Social Security. I'd rather see that for what I'm paying into. I'd love to be able to get the money I've already paid into a new account that I can decide where it goes. For example, I'd love to put some of that into precious metals. Even if I'm having to vault them somewhere and it's out of my hands, I'd rather do that than some of the volatile stocks. The other thing I'd love to see him do is start drastically reducing income tax and then eventually get rid of it. And that has some ramifications, guys. My company that I work for does a lot of government contracting. It could affect my income a little bit, but I'd like to see the federal government shrink down, and I'd like to see more power go back to the states. And in doing so, what I'm hoping is the need for as much money printing and the need for as much taxes goes down. So a lot of those things could happen. With all of that going on, it's not going to affect this very much, the price of this stuff. What's going to affect the price of this stuff is going to be the policies around what this is. What I'm really hoping he does is he takes the tax away from buying and selling nationally on gold and silver and platinum. And if he does that, we're going to see a new game here, guys. I have to be very careful in California because anytime I buy something like this that's 3 ounces, I'm going to be paying 7.5% tax. Now, if I buy it from someone on eBay, that tax kind of evaporates. It doesn't really exist there. But if I go to a coin show, it also doesn't exist. No one really tends to charge it there. So I think that's really interesting. Um, but I'd like to see that. I'd like to see him get rid of the sales tax and the income tax um, on metals. Now, technically, the sales tax is going to be based on your county and your state. Um, but it does say in the Constitution that silver and gold are the money. So I'm hoping that there'll be something that'll nationally trump the states. Now, I'm a guy all for states' rights. I worry about the federal government having too much power and too much oversight. That's why our schools are all screwed up, to be honest. It's because they need to get funding from the federal government, and the federal government then can dictate what they do. It's a scam. So anyway, with that said, what I'm hoping is a few things become national when it has to do with the Constitution. The other one would be the Second Amendment. Um, I have every right here in California to have, the larger versions of the Freedom Seed launchers. Yet my state doesn't allow it, or at least they do, but they really mess it up. And so, they cause people that are honest to maybe skirt the law a little bit. And they also make it harder. And things like a national registry are dangerous. Okay, the Second Amendment's there for us to be able to protect ourselves from tyranny, as well as our families. And if the federal government knows exactly how much you have and what you have, it makes it really easy for them to come after it at some point. And we need the Second Amendment to protect the First Amendment. Okay, so those things are national. But I'd like to see more and more of the other kinds of laws pushed back to the states, and then we get to decide where we want to live. So I think that's pretty cool. So silver, we're going to talk about silver in just a second. Let me catch up on the feed here real quick with you guys. So I just filmed 2 videos. I got super hot. I ended up getting this crazy purple. It's like all melted now. It's like a snow cone. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in here. So let's go back to this, because I'm now ranting about politics, and I try not to be too political on the channel. And to me, politics are not Republican or Democrats. I don't belong to either of those parties. I think they're basically the same thing, same coin, just different sides of it, as parties. I try to vote for the person that has the principles and the track record of what I'm looking for, which is living more of the Constitution. So if there was a constitutional freedom party, that would probably be what I would belong to. All right, let's see what you guys hear real quick. Sorry, going back to the beginning here for a second. Yeah, I don't think a president's going to fix anything, guys. I think they can just make it better a little bit. The one thing I will add is the stuff that Trump's talked about doing is stuff that's going to get him assassinated by the global bankers. They don't want that. It screws up the WEF, the World Economic Forum. It screws up the deep state, all that kind of stuff. So if Trump really does try to do this, and his team tries to do this, they're going to need a lot of protection, and they're going to need help from up above to not get taken out. Otherwise, it's going to be nearly impossible to do it. These other guys are pretty powerful. So far, he seems to be a protected guy. All right, Silver Stallion says it's going down because people have more faith in the economy with new president. They think he's good for the U.S. Yeah, I think so too. But I think what we got to keep in mind is things take time. So right now, the economy we're seeing is the economy that was kind of created 2 or 3 years ago, and maybe even 4 years ago. And so when Trump takes over, he's going to be inheriting everything that's been created in 2023 and 2024, which has been a lot of money printing, and there's been a lot of regulation and other issues. So I don't think we're going to be walking into this great economy right off the bat. I think it's going to have to be created. And in my opinion, the best way to create it is lowering the amount of taxes. I pay a crazy amount of taxes. I don't even want to tell you guys, make you cry. But just an example of it is I thought I had paid all my taxes, and I got my bill and I owed another $26,000. I was like, holy crap, where am I going to get that from? So I had to sell a little bit of silver, a little bit of gold. I had to take some of my cash reserves and move them around. And I had to pull out of some investments that I didn't want to. However, I still made more money doing it that way than if I had paid all the taxes up front. So I think it's going to take some time for him to do that. But if I had that extra $26,000, I know I'd be stimulating the economy for sure. It's a good Saturday, guys. It's here pretty sunny at the beach. I made the mistake of actually wearing pants out here. I never do that. I should have known better. But I got super hot, so surfers had way too much ice cream today. I'm gonna have to go run like 30 miles this next week. Jimmy says, what if he makes an executive order to eliminate term limits for the president? I don't think he won't do that, and I don't think that'd be constitutional. I think that is something that has been put into the Constitution. Therefore, the Supreme Court would shoot him down on that. We do have checks and balances. Trump doesn't give a crap, guys. He's an old dude that has billions and billions of dollars. He doesn't even want to be doing this. He is a narcissist, and so are some of the best business people we've ever had. Some of them are also have Asperger's, like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know if that's public information or not, but I can tell you he does have it by observing it, because I know a lot of people that have Asperger's. And it gives them that superpower, but it also is a hindrance to the way they act socially. I've got, my kids are on the spectrum, so I understand that stuff pretty well. As far as Trump doing this, you know, one of the things to know whether someone has good intentions or not is, do they have to do this? The dude's lost $1 billion by becoming president. He would rather be golfing and doing other stuff. Now, with his narcissism, one of the things that he leans towards is he wants to be the guy that fixed the country. And right now, I think that's the kind of thing the country probably needs, is someone that really sees the opportunity to go fix it. Now, the downside of someone like Trump is he's very abrasive. A lot of people I work with are very anti-Trump because of how abrasive he is. He said things, and he's inserted his foot into his mouth many times, and he's not the nicest guy out there when it comes to doing things. And maybe we don't need a nice guy, but it can be abrasive for people. So there's a lot of people in this country right now that are freaking out, and I think we got to be careful not to make fun of people. I think we need to look at how to accept them and help them understand, and hopefully they'll be able to see it on their own that everything's not about to become Germany in World War II, okay? But I'll kind of leave it at that for the politic part of it. But I do think we're going to see some changes, but I think it's going to take a little bit of time. Does anyone know if you can hang a 1.5 ounce coin on a gold chain necklace? Yeah, you can do that. You know, I would honestly, I would look at some pre-33 gold hanging off a chain would be pretty cool. I have a hard time seeing silver go below 30 unless we have an everything crash and you see the stock market take a good 30 plus percent hit. People may have to sell their silver, and institutions may have to sell their silver in order to shore up the stock calls, the margin calls they get. They may be selling their crypto too. But to go below that, I think you have to see a crash that's happening. And when that does happen, guys, what will happen is silver will go down, and so will gold with everything else. It won't go down as fast. The percentage decline won't be as much. And then what will happen is it's going to kind of level off, and it'll be the first asset to reclimb and to recover. And that's the time you want to be buying a ton of it. Okay, let's see here. Precious metals, Craig. Precious metals have no tax. That will be a huge game changer. It'll be huge, guys. Surfer got that coin on the Black Pearl. So I think this is supposed to be a Spanish doubloon pirate treasure, right? And it comes with some kind of bonus foreign object in there too. But I thought it was a pretty good pour for a second try. So, you know, if we have no taxes on silver, here's what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to have a lot of us that decide to go buy more of it. It's going to make it easier to do a trade from gold to silver on the ratios. It's also going to make it a lot easier to sell it when you need to. You know, right now, part of the problem I have with silver more than gold is I go and buy silver and I pay a 15% premium. I can usually get it a little bit less than the average person. But when I go to sell it, at least right now on my channels, going through eBay, I have to pay a 5% fee there. And so I have a 20% spread that is not mine to keep, that becomes really tricky. And then if you add taxes on top of that, it just makes it so much harder. So if the taxes are gone, I think it makes it easier. And I will be putting up a website soon and hopefully offering things like this for you guys at great prices. You know, honestly, it's to kind of help fund the channel a little bit. It's to help me move some silver and keep some cash flow going, but it's really there to help you guys grow stuff. I'm not looking to try to make obscene amounts of money off pours and things like that. Hit that thumbs up if you guys haven't done so. You just double tap the screen when it's in this format, and it'll hit a thumbs up real quick. All right, so let's see. We're gonna be here for a couple minutes, and then I got to cruise. If you guys have seen my flowing hair coin, I've got to run down to Tangible Investments, which is a great company if you guys are looking for um, buying fun collectible coins, and I mean more historical coins, so numismatics. Sil um, Silvano, the owner of it, is a co-founder of PCGS, and he was on the team that put together the first grading set. So he's the one that looked at it and said, yes, this looks like an MS-70, sent it in, and he got it turned around in one flipping day. One day we had that thing turned around. It's already up for sale. It's going to the Baltimore Coin Show this weekend, this next weekend, and I need to get the box down to them in a few minutes before they close today. So um, we'll do that in a second. Let's see what Check had in here. If Congress did their job and addressed real issues instead of naming bridges. Yeah, we wouldn't have to do so many executive orders. The other thing with Congress that's interesting too, guys, is they never kill bills. I'm sorry, they never take laws off the books that don't make sense anymore. So we almost need someone to come in too and just go clean up all the garbage that's sitting on the that are laws that don't exist, should not exist anymore, don't make sense. We can't enforce them anymore. Get rid of all that junk. We have a lot of that stuff. Hey, thanks, AK Brett. We got birthdays shouts out there. Um, so Craig, that's why I was happy to leave California in 2012. You know, it's a hard thing right now, guys. We are really debating. Hey, Mrs. and Mrs. Texas Stacker, we're really debating on whether to stay here or go to North Carolina. It's kind of what we're looking. Maybe South Carolina. Except those monkeys scare me, man. I don't want monkeys attacking my house. But hopefully they don't have some crazy disease, pandemic 2.0. But it is hard to leave here. Where I live is it's a bubble. Um, Orange County is a great place to live. There is some traffic here and it is expensive. But if somehow the state were to be fixed, and I think the way to fix the state is to require an ID that proves you're a citizen here in the state when you go to vote, I bet it would go red. I bet it would. It used to be red. And there was a red wave in here that increased to about 40%. But a lot of laws I've seen get passed here make no sense because the only people who would ever vote for those are people that don't pay taxes and don't have any income. And so I think we have a lot of people that are probably not citizens that are voting or at least getting away with stuff. So if California could be fixed, this is a hard place to leave. If my taxes went from 13% on the state down to more like a 5 or 6, and if we got rid of the $1.50 state tax we have in addition to the regular taxes most states have on gas, that would help. We're like $5 a gallon now. If my electricity wasn't $600 a month and we were able to get that down to like $100, all these things that would change. We haven't built a new power plant in like 40 years here, and the last time that we had, and they've shut them all down, so that doesn't really work either. All right, let's see. I got one more thing. I'll just look up here, kind of go to the bottom for you guys real quick. Yeah, most people can't afford to live here. And I'm at the point where I really can't afford it either. I'm having to sell some of this stuff to stay here. So we're going to have to be making a change soon, or we're going to be having to get out of it. So anyway, I got to run now, guys, but thank you for coming. Look for some new videos that'll be coming out. And then remember, Andy Scheckman, Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. And it's going to be great. We're going to have a really good show with him. And I've got an interview with Lynette Zing on Wednesday, so hopefully that goes well and everything happens still, and it'll be great. And until next time,